Time now for Morning Rounds with CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Jon LaPook and CBS News contributor Dr. Holly Phillips. First up, a recent CBS News New York Times poll shows concern over terrorism on the rise. 44% of Americans think another terrorist attack in the U.S. in the next few months is very likely. That's the highest percentage since right after the September 11th attacks. John asked an expert clinical psychologist, Dr. Justin Sinclair, about the effect this fear could be having on our health.
One of the things that I think is different about this this threat is that, again, it's ongoing. People sort of can't know when and where or how it's going to happen. It's this thing that never ends and is ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
How does that affect their lives?
They tend to avoid different aspects of their lives. They fly less, they ride on public transportation less, they go into public settings less. There's been research that's shown that they have a tendency to engage people from different cultural backgrounds less. They even consume media less, ironically.
What have you learned over the last 10 years of studying this that might surprise people?
How potent fear can be in terms of altering people's lives and the impact that it can have in different aspects of life, whether it's making decisions about a president, whether it's supporting different policies that are important socially, or even down to sort of, how people live their everyday lives.
Is there a danger to society of people incrementally changing their behavior over time because of terrorism?
Yeah, I think it sort of changes the structure of our country. It changes the structure of our government. I think, fear can maybe even change things in ways that, weren't consistent with how the country was founded originally.
As a psychologist, is there some insight into that?
I think fear moves people to become much more polarized in their viewpoints. And I think that fear motivates people to go to further lengths to feel safe.
John, how does fear impact our health?
In all sorts of ways. So prolonged fear, increased anxiety, increased stress can lead to depression, fatigue, even heart attack, stroke. There's even some evidence that long-term stress, in your body can increase the risk of cancer. So this is a big deal. And one of the big things is to not close in. If you feel like you're having these kind of symptoms, if you find specifically that you're changing your behavior, you're not going outside, you want to reach out to your friends, reach out to your family for support. But if that's not good enough, it may be time to seek professional help.
Well, a new study raises concerns that antidepressants taken during pregnancy may be linked to autism. The research is published in the American Medical Association journal Pediatrics. It finds pregnant women taking antidepressants in the second and third trimester face nearly double the risk of delivering a child who will be diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. This is interesting. I didn't even realize you could take those serious drugs that late in the pregnancy.
Vanita, you absolutely can. I feel like this is one of those studies where it's so important to have a perspective on what it means and what it doesn't. So actually, it turns out 13% of American women, about 13%, take antidepressants during their pregnancy. And research about what, if any, effects those antidepressants have on the developing fetus have been rather inconsistent. So this was a large study. It was done out of Canada. They looked at 145,000 infants and followed them for almost 7 years, 6 years, looking for signs of autism spectrum disorder. What they found was an association between women who took antidepressants in the second and third trimester of their pregnancy and an increased relative risk of their children having autism spectrum disorder of 87%. That seems like a big number, but when you look at it in perspective, the general risk is 1%, so that increase takes the risk to 1.87%. Keep in mind, this still means 98% of those women did not have children who had autism spectrum disorder.
John, exactly what medications are we talking about?
Well, the one that alone seemed to be linked was the SSRI, the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And that, if taken in the second and third trimesters, was linked to this mildly increased risk. Also, if you were taking 2 or more classes together, that was also linked.
But is it possible then that it's the depression and not the medication that's actually causing the autism in these kids?
Very much so. So, Vanita, this really is not a cause and effect study. This type of study can show us an association, which may in fact be important, but it can't say that antidepressants caused autism spectrum disorder. Absolutely. We know that in depression, there are altered levels of neurochemicals, neurotransmitters in the mother's brain. That could have an effect on the children. And there are other confounding factors with the study itself. For instance, we know that the women filled their prescriptions for antidepressants.
Yeah.
We don't know whether or not they took them.
Right.
And we don't know a lot about the rest of their medical history, whether they had other mental illness or physical illnesses. All of those things could have played in.
Does this suggest in any way that women should stop taking their medication?
I would absolutely advise against women suddenly stopping their medication. If they have questions, of course, reach out to their OB-GYN or their psychiatrist. We do know there are significant risks for women to have untreated depression during pregnancy. Women who are depressed during their pregnancy are more likely to drink alcohol or smoke. They're less likely to exercise, eat well, do things that we know are good for the baby.
All right, another new study finds an interesting way to cope with stress. Follow the golden rule. Researchers at Yale University and UCLA found performing small acts of kindness every day could help reduce the impact of stress on emotions and mental health. The results suggest that reaching out to do things for others may be an effective way to handle everyday worries and strains.
I absolutely believe this,
Yeah.
and I think the best present, one of the best presents you can give your kids, is to train them, one might say even brainwash them, to actually get physical pleasure from doing good for other people. I mean, what a great thing. You can go through your whole life. How easy is it to find people to do things for? And you get the endorphins firing? That's
Right.
physical pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Well, finally this morning, some research that would make old St. Nick proud. Scientists in Europe say they have pinpointed the part of the brain responsible for the Christmas spirit. They scanned the brains of Santa fans and Scrooges. They uncovered 5 areas in the brain of holiday lovers that, well, light up like Christmas trees. The authors say these findings could be the first step to helping millions around the world with Christmas spirit deficiency, or to use the medical term, bah humbug syndrome.
Well, there you go. You know, one of the areas in the brain that lit up in this study were the left and right parietal lobes, which actually are involved in how we experience spirituality.
Right.
So I think that's just sort of a really kind of important way to look at it. It's not necessarily all about jingle bells and Santa, but more that sense of spirituality and what it means in the broad spectrum.
And of course, the big question here that we're all wondering is, can you change a bah humbug brain into a Christmas spirit brain? And I
Yes.
believe it was Buddy the Elf who first said, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. And in that spirit, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry... I'm not doing it unless you
No.
sing,
We
we wish you a Merry
I'm tone deaf. You
Christmas. I'm not finishing this alone. Big finish.
Okay.
And a Happy New Year.
That would be the Morning Rounds chorus. Dr. John LaPook, Dr. Holly Phillips, thank you so much for embarrassing us all.